My name is Nate. Welcome to the DivMan channel. Today I want to talk about why I sold YMAG or YMAG. And before we get into the reasons and my logic there, I just want to say thank you for my viewers because I'm not yet monetized, but things are trending in a really darn good direction. I really appreciate just the people that are tuning in and even appreciating the content I put out. I've met a few people through a Discord I'm a part of that mentioned that they're changing some of their primary holdings for just following the markets from VU or a mutual fund that follows the S&P 500 to some of those Invesco funds I talk about in this video down here. It's actually not as popular a video, but it seems to have made an impact, and I'm just grateful. It's just data. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just giving you some data to consider when you're making decisions. But anyway, just thanks to people who are supportive and giving positive feedback. It makes it really easy to keep making content. But anyway, here is the subject matter. I sold a lot of my YMAG, and I want to talk about why I did that. Now, YMAG or YMAG, as it's commonly known among the YouTube community, it's a really good fund of Yieldmax. Now, obviously, their holdings are just the different the different mag7 companies, so like TSLA and whatnot, and then the covered call really is what they're holding. So they're holding the Yieldmax covered call version of each of those mag7 funds. And so it doesn't yield quite as much as let me just show you here. It doesn't yield quite as much as YMAX, but it does hold its NAV. In other words, the price of each share of YMAG holds its value a lot better, in my experience, than YMAX. Aside from maybe a little bit of crypto pump that happened, November, December, it seems like YMAG is a better performer. So then why did I sell? Why would I sell this fund? Well, when it comes down to it, it was nice because YMAG has had a little bit of a sell-off. So for the most part, I'm not realizing any profit. So it's not a taxable event, really. And the dividends that YMAG pays are just like regular dividends, mostly from what I understand. So they're not return of capital. So that means that each dividend is not lowering your cost basis in the IRS's eyes. And so if I sell it when it's a little bit down on the NAV from what I bought it at, I'm not really having a taxable event there. And I do trade this in my my brokerage account, so it's a tax non-advantage account. But anyway, here's what I put most of it into was YBTC as far as covered call dividend stuff. And it was about 2,200. Now, I didn't put all 2,200 into YBTC, but as you can see, YBTC is Roundhill's, Bitcoin covered call ETF. They do covered calls on IBIT, the iShares BlackRock spot Bitcoin ETF. That was a mouthful. But anyway, because they started paying weekly, and I haven't gotten confirmation yet from the Roundhill team. I emailed them about this, about whether YBTC is return of capital dividends for their Bitcoin ETF. It seems like they don't want to take a position, but I think they're going to try to do that. I think they're going to employ basically the same profit-taking strategy and payout strategy as the zero DTEs. I'm not 100% sure. I would be okay either way. What I mainly am putting money into YBTC for is because it's a Bitcoin fund and they pay weekly. And so that for me is what I'm interested in. I'm long on Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the best performing asset of the last 14 years. And so I just want to be on, the team that benefits from Bitcoin. Now, obviously, MSTR MicroStrategy is basically at this point like leveraged Bitcoin. It's not really about their software business, their stock price usually. But with that said, aside from the fact that MSTR is leveraged, so they're performing a bit better than Bitcoin right now, and MSTY has better dividends than YBTC. I still wanted to get a position in YBTC just because of its Bitcoin exposure directly, or with very few steps in between, aside from the IBIT spot Bitcoin ETF, etc. So really, it has nothing to do with the fact that YMAG is a bad fund. I actually really like it. I just don't have unlimited capital to throw in whatever I want. So since I have limited capital to use, I wanted to pull out of my YMAG position and put some funds into YBTC. I also decided to put some into MAGX, so MAGX. That's the Roundhill. It's not a covered call. It's the 2x levered mag7 ETF. So they have one that's just 1x, whatever the Magnificent 7 does. It's equal weighted. I think they rebalance each month to make sure it's like equally weighted across the mag7. But the MAG S has performed extremely well. Let me just show you the mags. So here is the mags Roundhill fund. This is just the 1x fund, right? So that fund did 61% over the last year. And at a certain point it was up 67%. So it's obviously beating QQQ. It's beating it's beating VOO. Obviously it's competitive with some of the leverage stuff, like leverage QQQ, maybe 2x, maybe 3x. I don't quite know. I haven't checked that recently, but I chose the MAGX, which is not just Magnificent 7 times 1, it's times 2. And it performed quite well. And I think, really when it comes down to, why I'm in this, mag7 long position, I think really the S&P 500 and QQQ has been propped up by these mega cap mag7 funds. And it makes sense to at least have a good position in Magnificent 7 directly, instead of, with some of the dead weight that QQQ has, or or VOO. If you look at the equal weighted, VOO or version, let me just look at an equal weighted S&P 500 ETF. Equal weight. All right, so here is Invesco, equal weight. And over the last year, it did 15%, which is obviously, not quite as good as, VOO did over the last year. And then here's the QQQ equal weighted, and that did only, not even 10%. And so if you just buy the winners of QQQ/VOO, at least have a position in just the winners. That way you can really capitalize on what's really making these bull days in the market, if you know what I mean. Let me just show you, I've already talked about the momentum funds for Invesco. I mean, these things are unleveraged, and this one is the S&P version. It did almost 50% for a year. And so it just makes sense to buy the winners, sell the losers. It's okay to have a safe position in VOO/QQQ, because not only are you're kind of hedged against overweighting in kind of these volatile mag7 funds, but you also don't get as much of the gain that way. You're kind of, you're having to share both the wins and the losses, if that makes sense. So that's kind of my logic behind some of the investments I've made lately, specifically pulling out a YMAG, and then it looks like if I saw the news correctly, Trump is supposedly going to sign his executive order about Bitcoin. This is just a rumor; it's not confirmed. Someone was talking about it on Twitter. So anyway, that should make a YBTC position pretty lucrative. So, but regardless of whether that happens, I'm long on Bitcoin because I think Bitcoin on average has averaged like a 30% return over the last 14 years. So that's kind of the logic there. If this video was helpful, please like and subscribe. Feel free to leave a comment. Thanks so much for your support. I really appreciate it. Have a good day.